Mandatory car rental insurance is probably one of the more confusing aspects that you need to learn about when you're planning your trip to Ireland. So today I'm going into it in depth to help you hopefully understand the ins and the outs of the CDW excess. Sometimes I feel like I fight a losing battle with Ireland car rental insurance because I try to explain it in my Everything Car Rental article, and it still confuses people. So I'm hoping that I can break it down a little bit more with spoken word, seeing if having a podcast episode about it helps to make it a little more understandable and clears up any misconceptions that may be out there about CDW coverage and Ireland car rental insurance. If you have the Aran Islands on your itinerary, I want to make sure that you know my friend Ollie because he leads one of the funnest tours to Inisheer that you're going to find. Ollie, you want to tell him about it?
Sure thing, Jody. So the Aran Islands are on most people's bucket list. So there are three of them: Inisheer, Inishmaan, and Inishmore. We visit Inisheer because number one, I grew up on the island. I spent a lot of time there. Number two, it's the easiest island to get to with only a 20-minute boat ride. When you get off the boat with us, we take you straight past the chaos that is the pier and hop you onto a bike tour that lasts around 2 hours. What's really cool and why you should do the tour with us is because we know the island like the back of our hand and we bring you to places on the island when nobody else is there. So you really feel like even on the busiest of days that you have the whole island to yourself. Afterwards, and this is not to be understated, this is possibly the best part of the tour. People book the tour for a bike tour, but they end up reviewing about the following. We do a cool tea, coffee, and scone experience where we sit down in a small little cafe, privately reserved seating. Islanders will tell us stories about their life, and you have some of the best scones you'll ever have in your entire life. Guaranteed. Afterwards, of course, Jody, you'll have some time to do some Aran sweater shopping if you'd like, or go to the pub for a cheeky pint. En route back to Doolin, you will have the option of going via the Cliffs of Moher if that's what you're into. So if you have any more questions or you're interested in booking, you can visit my website at olliestours.com. Woohoo!
Forget to mention that you heard about Ollie's tours on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. You can book and get more information at IrelandFamilyVacations.com/Ollie. OLLIE. Sometimes I feel like I fight a losing battle with car rental insurance because it's actually one of the topics that I get the most questions about. And in the forums that I happen to kind of stalk a little bit, it's what is talked about very often. And in many cases, the information offered is only part of the story or it's incomplete. And it can cause a lot of confusion and frustration. So, what I want to do today is dig into just Ireland rental car insurance and CDW coverage. Now, this is actually part of my Everything You Need to Know About Car Rentals in Ireland article. And if you go into the show notes, you'll find a link to that. It's very extensive, breaks down absolutely everything. But today, I just want to talk about the CDW coverage because that is quite honestly the most confusing part of car rental in Ireland. So, what is CDW coverage and why do you have to have it? To put it very simply, CDW or collision damage waiver coverage limits your liability for material damage to the vehicle that you rent. Now, a basic CDW is included in your rental agreement. What this does is it limits your liability for damage to the vehicle, but it doesn't completely cover it. This is offered on all car rentals in Ireland. It has to be on there. So when you're renting a car, you're going to see that CDW is included, but that is not full insurance coverage. So the amount over and above the basic CDW is the excess. And that's going to begin around 2,500 euro, and it rises based on the vehicle's make and model. So if there's damage to the car in excess of the basic CDW that is included in the car rental basic package, you are responsible for that amount. Now, that amount can be covered in three ways. Option one, the excess. So that amount over and above what is already included is held on your credit card. This is the credit card you use to book the car rental, and the amount will be released when the car is returned undamaged. Option two is to purchase vehicle excess. Now, you might see this as CDW excess, CDI excess, super CDW, super damage waiver. No matter what they call it, this is an insurance upgrade available at a per day rate. So the normal rates that I see are between 26 and 30 euro per day. And what this does is it reduces your liability to 100 or even zero. I prefer the zero myself. So if there is damage to the car, you will not be responsible for anything beyond the deductible that you've agreed to. That's why I like the zero deductible, because you can take back the steering wheel, and they're just like, have a good day, because you've already paid for that insurance that's going to cover any um, any repairs the car needs. And option three, which is available to Americans and Canadians, you can waive the CDW if your credit card company allows it. Now, it's important to note that there are a few companies that will cover Ireland, but many don't. So you have to dig into your credit card, um, all that fine print, and see if you have coverage in Ireland. And then you also need to keep in mind that Discover Card is not accepted in Ireland, and many rental car companies will not accept American Express to waive the CDW. So you really do need to have a Visa or a MasterCard that does cover Ireland in their coverage. Okay, so that might still be a little confusing. I probably lost a bunch of you on option two, and I get it. So, breaking it down a little bit more, you cannot rent a car in Ireland without providing insurance in some way. Insurance is paid for when you pick up the car unless you've arranged coverage beforehand, so be sure to have room on your credit card for the fee. If you opt for the basic CDW option one, a hold will be placed on your card equal to the coverage amount necessary for that vehicle. So it's going to range from 2,500 euro to 7,000 euro. Option two, the vehicle or CDW excess, is in addition to your car rental fees. So if you were quoted 600 euro for the week, this is going to be on top of that to fully insure the car against damage. Just a little side note here. I prefer to rent with Irish car rentals. I do so, I would say 99% of the time I'm in Ireland. Their rental rates are competitive, and the excess can be added when you book online. So there's no cash out of hand when you pick up the car. You'll be on your way quicker. And you can save an extra 10% with my special link, which is IrelandFamilyVacations.com/ICR. Now, if you like comparing car rental quotes, if you want to make sure you're getting the best deal, I will also compare costs with Auto Europe, which also allows you to add Super CDW when you reserve your vehicle. And I've used Discover Cars as well, which offers its own third-party insurance options that they will still require a hold, but that hold will be less than if you were using your credit card. So, how do you use credit card insurance for car rental in Ireland? If you wish to use your credit card, and this is coming directly from the car rental companies, okay? So if the customer wishes to use their credit card to cover collision damage, the first thing you have to do is waive all CDW. So there will be a button on whatever car rental website you're using that says, I have my own coverage, or I don't want coverage. You have to click that. And then you have to obtain a letter of authorization from your credit card company. The letter must be presented at the time of the rental in order to waive the CDW coverage, and you should note that theft insurance may not be included on that. The letter needs to be issued less than 2 weeks prior to picking up the car, so don't go do it if your trip is in, months away. Just make a quick call to your card insurer, um, under 2 weeks from when you're picking up the car, and they will email you a letter of authorization. Print that out, present it to the rental car company, and you should be good to go. Just keep in mind that the credit card used to rent the car must be the same as the credit card offering the coverage, and that letter needs to be in the name of the primary driver. So if I have my husband down as the primary driver, the letter cannot be in my name. Now, it is completely your responsibility to determine coverage with your provider and present that proof on arrival. The car rental company can say it is insufficient. This happens a lot when you utilize a third party company. I see it a lot when people rent with Expedia, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So you have to be sure that your provider offers the coverage and present proof on arrival. If it's insufficient, you will be liable for the full value of the vehicle, and a hold will be required, either that regular CDW hold, or you can purchase the CDW excess to limit your liability. Your credit card will have a hold placed on it for at least 2,500 euro, often 5,000 euro or more in case of damage. So either way, you're having a hold placed on your card if you don't purchase the excess. So you have to make sure that you have plenty of credit on that card, and the hold is released when the car is returned undamaged. If you have an accident, the vehicle repair costs will be charged to your credit card, which is why they place the hold, and then you'll file the paperwork with your credit card company to have that amount refunded via the insurance coverage that you used to cover damage to the car. Sounds like a roundabout way, I know. So what about travel insurance policies that cover car rental? Third-party excess coverages, like those from travel insurance, do not reduce your excess to zero. So I spoke about Discover Cars a minute ago. This is what they do as well. Um, so what you're doing is you are purchasing insurance to lower your deductible. So they are insuring the excess, or that the amount that the car rental company is holding. So if your excess is taken due to damage caused by you during the rental, you can claim that amount back through the company you purchased the policy from. Now, you have to have proof of the policy. So just like when you brought the proof of the credit card coverage, you have to have proof of the policy when you pick up the car rental. It must confirm that it's relevant for coverage in the Republic of Ireland, and you will still be required to leave an excess deposit held on the credit card used to rent the car. So it's almost like using credit card coverage, but you've purchased insurance from somebody else. If you arrive without a relevant card and letter, or you do not have excess available on your card, you will be required to purchase the excess CDW coverage from the car rental company. So, I don't know, did that help? I don't know. It is a lot to know, but really all you need to know, I think, in my opinion, is for the best coverage and the least hassle, just purchase the excess coverage through the rental company. Get a zero deductible, and you have absolutely nothing to worry about. If you are using your credit card or a third-party insurance policy, you have to have proof of coverage with you, and you have to have enough money on your credit card for the hold that is required. So the bigger, the larger, the automatic cars, those all require more. I would not go without at least 7,000 euro open on a card for that excess deposit. All right, a few more tips for renting a car in Ireland. Research the cars in the class you're renting so you know what you can expect. Rent the smallest car you can comfortably use, and don't forget to check how much luggage it will hold. There's nothing worse than having to upgrade your car at the rental company because it won't hold the luggage you brought. Don't assume the best deal is by the price. You want to look at what is included and what is not included in the pricing and compare apples to apples. You can go through a few steps through the process of renting to find out the per day coverage of excess insurance, so you can have a full idea of the coverage price before you rent the car. So make sure that you are comparing as close as possible when you're doing your comparison shopping. Pay in your local currency if possible. It will help you avoid currency exchange fees. Now, to do this, you would want to pay in full upfront. If you pay part of your car rental and then part of it when you get there, you will have the exchange fees, unless you have a credit card that has no exchange fees. If you are renting from one of the big companies, Enterprise, Budget, Hertz, Alamo, use the Irish company website. So that's the one that ends in .ie. If you rent from a .com, you're not going to have the option to purchase the insurance. So rent from the .ie. Their rates are usually better, and you have the more inclusive coverage and the option to purchase the excess. And if you are covering the excess with a hold on your card, so you're using your credit card coverage, you just are having a hold on the card, or you have a third party, do a walk around of the car before driving away. Take time-stamped photos when you pick up and drop off the car, just in case you get a repair bill that you don't agree with. There is no need to do that if you have purchased a zero deductible excess coverage policy. So what do you think? Still confused? More confused? I know that it is, like I said at the very beginning, it's probably the most annoying part of renting a car is getting through this excess coverage, how to do it, what to use. But hopefully this has helped you to understand your options. And like I said, I have a full how to rent a car in Ireland guide, and you'll find that within the show notes, as well as kind of just step yourself through this step by step if listening to me talk about it was a little much. It's broken up so you can just look at each chunk individually from the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can't leave a review on your podcast app, you can leave a review on the Ireland Family Vacations Facebook page or on Trustpilot at irelandfamilyvacations.com/trust. If you have questions or comments, you can email me, Jody, Jody, at irelandfamilyvacations.com. As always, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, Slán go fóill.